The President summarised some of the negative socio-economic impacts that the current load-shedding crisis has heaped on South Africans and said that as a result of these impacts, the government had concluded that this situation should be deemed a national disaster in terms of the Disaster Management Act.
It will enable us to provide practical measures that we need to take to support businesses, a number of businesses, for instance, in food production, storage, retail supply chains, including for the rollout of generators and solar panels and uninterrupted power supply. Where technically possible, it will also enable us to exempt critical infrastructure such as hospitals and water treatment plants from load shedding.
Mindful of South Africans' apprehension around corrupt tendencies that were seen during the COVID-19 era and which could be replicated under this new state of disaster, the President announced that he'd made a couple of preemptive strikes in this regard.
The Auditor General will be brought in to ensure continuous monitoring of expenditure in order to guard against any abuses of funds needed to attend to this disaster. Now, to deal more effectively and urgently with the challenges that confront us, I will appoint a Minister of Electricity in the Presidency to assume full responsibility for overseeing all aspects of the electricity crisis response. You better listen. Including the work of the National Energy Crisis Committee. Now, the Minister will focus full-time on the work with the ESCOM board and the management on ending load shedding and ensuring that the Energy Action Plan is implemented without delay.
The President spoke about pushing through legislation to create a competitive electricity sector and indicated that households and businesses would be assisted to transition to renewable energy sources.
Later this year, we will table the Electricity Regulation Amendment Bill to this Parliament to transform the energy sector and establish a competitive electricity market like what is done in other countries. As indicated in July last year, and with a view to addressing the load shedding crisis, we are going to proceed with the rollout of rooftop solar panels. In his budget speech, the Minister of Finance will outline how households will be assisted and how businesses will be able to benefit from a tax incentive.
Ramaphosa covered broad socio-economic themes in his speech, but also highlighted the logistical constraints for cargo and people in the country, which have been responsible for making it more costly to do business and to travel to and from work. He announced that Transnet was close to concluding partnerships with the private sector to get cargo on the move again, and also noted progress on the passenger rail front.
Following the restructuring that is underway in PRASA, 13 commuter rail lines have been reopened, significantly reducing the cost of travel for many workers.
While the emphasis was on fixing the energy crisis, which he described as an existential crisis, the President did state that South Africa would continue with its energy transition program, as the real issue of climate change can't be ignored. But he reiterated that this would be done at a pace that the country could keep up with and afford, while also ensuring that its energy security, with a blend of energy sources including coal, was in place. Nompumelelo Siziba, SABC News, Johannesburg.